We are looking at Google Calendars. In the previous tutorial, we went through how to add an event and how to edit events. In this tutorial, we're going to look at adding calendars and sharing calendars with others. So if we take a look at my calendar, we can see here that I have two calendars already established. I like to have a calendar for my personal events and then a separate calendar for my school events. You'll see that my calendars are color-coded, so anything that's on my personal calendar will show up in blue, and anything that's on my school calendar will show up in red. You can add any number of secondary calendars to Google Calendar, which makes it really nice. So you could have a classroom calendar for events that are going on in your classroom. You could have a meeting calendar for meetings that you might have after school. You could have an IEP calendar for IEP meetings that you might have for your students. Any variety, any number of calendars. Anything that you can think of, you can create a calendar for. So we're going to go ahead and create a new calendar. And to do that, you're going to come to My Calendars, and we're going to click the arrow next to My Calendar, and we're going to click Create New Calendar. So I have decided that I am going to do a calendar for my training sessions. Now, if you're a classroom teacher, you might want to have a calendar called Classroom, and this is where you would put all of your classroom events, or maybe this is where you would schedule your helpers, your parent helpers that are going to come in during the day. You can give your calendar a name, you can give it a description if you want to, and you can specify the location if you want to. Make sure your time zone is set correctly, so Central Time Zone. And then this option here, you could choose to make this calendar public, which means that if somebody searched for the calendar, they would be able to pull it up through a Google search. I tend to not check that box because I don't really want the whole entire world knowing my business, where I'm scheduled to be at what meeting. But you might find a use for that, so just know that that is an option. We're going to talk about sharing calendars later. So for right now, let's just go ahead and create this calendar. You will see that your calendar shows up here under your calendars list. It will color code the calendar for you. It's chosen a blue color for mine, which I already have my personal calendar set in blue, so I want to change that color. To change that color, I'm going to click on the down arrow next to the training calendar, and here are all of the different colors that I could possibly make this calendar. Let's go ahead and make this one purple. That'll be different from blue and red. So now I have a blue calendar, I have a red calendar, and I have a purple calendar. Tasks is a calendar that Google creates for you, and that's something that you can, it's like a to-do list that you can have off to the side of your calendar. I normally just turn that calendar off, and to turn a calendar off, you simply click the box next to it, the color block next to the calendar, and that'll turn that off for you. All right, let's go back to the training calendar. So I'm going to go ahead and schedule an event for the training calendar since I've got that new calendar here. And maybe I'm going to have a training session on Friday. So again, to schedule an event, you can simply click on the date where you want the event to go, and then you can put in the time. So I'm going to say 3:30 p.m. training. And under calendar, I'm going to select the training calendar for that to go on, and I'll go ahead and click create event. And so now we can see that that training event will show up in purple because that's the color that we tagged it. As I showed you before, a nice feature of Google Calendars is the ability to turn them on and turn them off, and I did that with the tasks list. So maybe I only want to show my school appointments. I can easily do that by turning off the training calendar, and you just click the box, the colored box next to the calendar name, and turning off my personal calendar. Now only my school tasks are shown. Another nice feature of Google Calendars is the ability to share a calendar with another person. And you can see here, I do have some other calendars. Now by default, Google will share with you a US holidays calendar, so you will have that. And notice I have it turned off. But every once in a while, it is kind of nice to see what the holidays are, so especially those holidays that change frequently, like Easter. So you can turn that on. If I want to turn it off, I just simply turn it off. Lisa has shared with me the Digital Conversion Center's calendar, so I can turn that on when I want to see those dates. I can turn it off when I don't want to see those dates. So if you'd like to share a calendar, select the calendar that you want to share. In this case, I'm going to share my training calendar, so I'm going to click the arrow next to training, and I'm going to go to share this calendar. Now again, you can choose to make this calendar public, which means everybody in the world would be able to see the dates that were on this calendar. I would use this probably very infrequently, but that is an option. More often, I would share with specific people. So if I had a specific person that I wanted to share my calendar with, I would put in their email address. and I would set their permission settings. By default, they can see all event details, which makes it good if you want to share a calendar so that people are aware of dates. For example, maybe you want to share your classroom calendar with parents of your students. You probably would want them to see the event details. However, you also have the option of saying they can make changes and manage sharing. So in this case, Jane could make changes to the calendar and she could also share the calendar with other people. I could also choose to allow her just to make changes to the events. So in this case, she would be able to make changes but not share the calendar herself. Again, see all event details is default, which means Jane can only see the event details. And then see only the free or busy events, but hide the details is the last option. So I'm going to allow Jane to see all the event details, and I'm just going to go ahead and click Add Person. So now I can add another person. We can see here that Jane has been given the ability to see all of the event details, and then I'm going to go ahead and click Save. And that calendar now has been shared with Jane. So Jane would have the ability to see the calendar, much like I can have the ability to see the Digital Conversion Center calendar. And again, a lot of times with other people's calendars, you maybe don't want to see that all the time, but when you do, you have the ability to turn it on, and you can also turn it off.